Chapter 5. Purchasing, Receiving, Storing. Food safety begins at purchasing. We cannot emphasize enough the importance of buying from approved, reputable suppliers. Preparing food for an establishment at home without proper licensing and permits is never a good practice and should not be permitted. Receiving food deliveries. All TCS, ready to eat, and frozen foods should be delivered and received at safe temperatures. Food delivered in the temperature danger zone should be rejected. Hot food is received at 135 degrees or higher. Cold food is received at 41 degrees or lower. Frozen food should be inspected on delivery. Signs of time temperature abuse could be ice crystals or stains on packaging. Stains on packaging or ice crystals on food could indicate that the food had leaked, thawed, or refroze at some point. In the previous slide, we stated that cold food should be received at 41 degrees or colder. There are 4 exceptions to this when receiving food. Live shellfish and shelled eggs can be received at a vehicle air temp of 45 degrees. They must be cooled to 41 degrees within 4 hours. Shut shellfish and milk can also be received at 45 degrees internal temperature. These 2 foods must be cooled to 41 degrees in 4 hours as well. Food establishments should work with vendors who deliver at convenient slow periods of the day. This allows time for inspection of all food being delivered. The person receiving the food will need to check temperatures, look for damaged or otherwise compromised items, check for signs of pests, and inspect the vehicle for cleanliness and pests. Some food service operations receive food after hours when they are closed for business. This is often referred to as a key drop delivery. The supplier is given a key, a code, or other access to the operation to make the delivery. Products are then placed in coolers, freezers, and dry storage areas. The delivery must be inspected once you arrive at the operation and meet the criteria set for receiving food. Both food items and even non-food items, such as single-use cups, utensils, and napkins, must be packaged correctly when you receive them. Items should be delivered in their original packaging with a manufacturer's label. The packaging should be intact, clean, and protect food and food contact surfaces from contamination. Reject food and non-food items if packaging has any of the problems listed on the slide. For example, torn packaging, swelling or bloated items, significant dents, missing or severely damaged labels, leaking, water stains, pest damage, expired items, broke seals, and soiled or dirty eggs. Food items you have received may sometimes be recalled by the manufacturer. This may happen when food contamination is confirmed or suspected. It can also occur when items have been mislabeled or misbranded. Most vendors will notify you of the recall. However, you should also monitor recall notifications made by the FDA and the USDA. Remove the item from inventory and place it in a secure and appropriate location. Label the item "Do Not Use" and "Do Not Discard." Refer to the vendor's notification or recall notice for what to do with the item. For example, you might be instructed to throw it out or return it to the vendor. Store shellfish in their original container. Do not remove the shell stock tag from the container until the last shellfish has been used. When the last piece or portion is removed from the container, write the date on the shell stock tag. Then, keep the tag on file for 90 days from the date you sold the last piece of portion. Cold food should be stored in the cooler at 41 degrees or colder. Frozen food should be stored in the freezer at 0 degrees. Dry foods should be stored in a separate dry storage area at room temperature. When storing food, be sure that it does not touch the wall or floor where it could be contaminated by chemicals or pests. Cooler storage order matters. Storage order is based on the minimum internal cooking temperature of each food in order to prevent cross-contamination. If you recall, our earlier example of cross-contamination was raw chicken placed on the top shelf, dripping on a ready-to-eat pie that was placed on the shelf below it. The slide shows us correct storage order. Birds, including chicken and other types of poultry, should be stored on the bottom shelf. Ground meat, including ground beef and ground pork, along with ground fish, are stored on the shelf above the birds. Whole meats, including steaks, chops, etc., are stored above ground meat and fish. Whole pieces of fish and seafood are stored above whole meats. Ready-to-eat and plant food like green beans or carrots are stored on the top shelf. Labeling food is important for many reasons. Illnesses have occurred when unlabeled chemicals were mistaken for food, such as flour, sugar, and baking powder. Food must be easily identified by its label. If items are removed from their original container and placed in a smaller or secondary container, they must be labeled with the common name of the food. This container of salt is correctly labeled salt rather than its brand name. Food with 2 or more ingredients, packaged for retail sale in the operation to be sold to customers for use outside the establishment, must have labels that include the information on the slide. The common name of the food, quantity of contact for the manufacturer, list of colors and preservatives, a list of ingredients in descending order by weight. And finally, allergens are listed after the word contains. Refrigerated, ready-to-eat, and TCS food must be marked with the expiration date if held for longer than 24 hours. The date bar mark indicates the day the food must be discarded or thrown away. The discard date is the use by or expiration date of the food. As a general rule, ready-to-eat and TCS food can be stored for 7 days. Be sure to count the day the food was prepped. In our example on the bottom of the slide, you can see this turkey chili was prepared on March 15th. If we begin with March 15th and count out 7 days, the expiration date of this turkey chili is March 21st. Overstuffed coolers can cause air to circulate unevenly, resulting in temperature irregularities. Open shelving will help air circulate more evenly. Randomly sample the internal temperature of stored food on a regular basis. Store meat, poultry, seafood, and dairy items in the coldest part of the unit, away from the door. Air temperature measuring devices must be located in the warmest part of refrigeration units and the coldest part of hot holding units. Food must be rotated in storage to maintain quality and limit the growth of pathogens and risk of pest activity. Food items must be rotated so that those with the earliest or nearest expiration dates are used before items with later dates. The FIFO method, first in, first out, is the common practice of rotating existing refrigerated, frozen, and dry foods forward so that newly received food can be placed behind it. Food storage containers should be durable, meaning they will not break down over many uses or long periods of time. Containers storing food should be leak-proof, waterproof, and pest-proof. Food storage containers should be easy to clean or cleanable and able to be sealed or covered to prevent contamination and unwanted pests.